Hi everyone, welcome to the Forensic Audio podcast and live streaming studio. And for this video, I just want to go through some of the different microphone options that we have here at Forensic Audio and some of the changes and choices you might have to make when recording your own podcast, whether you're doing it here or whether you're setting up your own rig at home for podcasting. I've got three different options here and they are all a little bit different. So I'm going to go through some of the benefits of each of them and hopefully give you an idea on my voice, just how they can sound a bit different. So it might let you know if it's worthwhile trying out a different microphone for your voice. The real thing that made me think about choosing the right microphone for the voice was my experience in recording bands. So I used to record and engineer bands quite often, and when I'd have a new vocalist in the studio, I'd set up 2 or 3 different microphones and I'd have them sing the song that we were producing at the time on all of those microphones. We'd then have a listen through and choose which one was the best for that particular voice. It wasn't always the most intuitive choice, so you often think I've got this really expensive microphone that on paper looks really, really good, but it may not be the best choice for that given voice, and sometimes a much lesser value microphone might just be the right fit. And the same thing goes for podcasting. Everyone's voice is different and every microphone has a different tonality and a different sound, and you've got to also think about those environmental factors as well. So if you're not in a well-treated studio, maybe you need something that's going to work for you in your space. The microphone I'm talking to you on at the moment is the Rode Procaster. It's been around for a few years now and it's quite popular in podcasting, and I've started seeing these pop up inside radio studios. It is a dynamic microphone, so it means it's not overly sensitive, and it does actually have quite a strong mid-range to it. It also has quite a large proximity effect, so as I come up closer to the microphone, you're going to notice my voice not only gets louder, but it also gets quite a lot bassier as well. So you'll hear this all the time on radio. You have those presenters that sound a little bit larger than life, and this microphone will let you use that as an effect on your own voice. One consideration with that, however, is that if you have a guest in the studio and they are not used to talking on microphones, they might actually sit back a little bit. And once you do that, you are changing the tone and the sound of the voice quite significantly. So if you have someone in the studio who's going to move around a bit or turn their head as they're talking to people, you might need to choose a microphone that's a bit more neutral and doesn't have quite a large proximity effect. Also, being a dynamic microphone, it does need a fair bit of level on your microphone preamps. Not as much as some of the other ones, but it is one consideration. Your preamps also need to be up to that level to be able to turn them up. And the better the preamp, the less noise you have as a result. So often when we're turning preamps up to higher levels, the noise of the preamp itself can become a problem and is recorded in your audio. Okay, so the other microphone I have set up is one of the classics. This is the Shure SM7B, and you'll see this microphone around lots of radio studios. It's been a popular choice for a long time, and if you go on many of the blogs or forums for podcasting, you're going to find this is often referred to as the gold standard microphone. It's a little bit different in sound to my Rode Procaster. For me, it sounds a lot more mid-rangey and maybe a little less clear in the top end. My S's aren't as pronounced, and I also don't quite have the same boominess or proximity effect. So this is the Rode Procaster, and this is the Shure SM7B. Often when you see this microphone spoken about in podcast forums or online, many people say you need another device called a cloud lifter because the volume coming out of this microphone is quite low. So we need a way of boosting that up a little bit so your preamp doesn't have to do all the work. It does depend on your preamps and if you are talking into the microphone nice and close. So I'm using the preamps inside my Rode podcasting console here, and they work just fine. So if I'm off microphone, I'm going to have some of those issues, but if I'm talking nice and close, it does work. But we do have a little bit more hiss involved with this microphone just because the preamps are pushed that little bit further. So more mid-rangey, a little bit less clear in the top end, and has a little bit less of that big boominess that you'd associate with a radio presenter voice. Whereas the Rode Procaster is probably a little bit fuller in the low end. It's a little bit clearer and probably has a little bit less in the mid-range, and you should be able to hearing that on my voice right now. The other microphone I have is the Rode Broadcaster, which is a condenser microphone. So the condenser microphone is a bit of a different design, and it does have a lot more clarity and covers a lot more of the frequency range that the human ear can hear. It does require 48 volt fan of power, so depending on how you're recording, that may or may not be an option for you. And also being a condenser microphone, it is a bit hotter and level, so your preamps have to do less work. They're turned down at a lower volume to get the same level as I need for these other two. It's probably a little bit too bright for my voice, and it does sort of bring forward the S's and the consonants in how I'm speaking. If I go back again to my Rode Procaster, this is the Rode Procaster, this is the Rode Broadcaster. They are both quite different. Being a condenser microphone and also picking up that extra frequency range, if you're in a reverberant space, so you've got a bit of background noise, or your room's a little bit echoey and it hasn't been treated like a recording studio, this may be a little bit of a problem because you might pick up some of that noise and you can't get rid of that later on when you're mixing your podcast. But it can be a good choice in the right environment, and you will see these in lots of radio studios around the place as well. So once again, the Rode Procaster, the Shure SM7B, and the Rode Broadcaster. Okay, let me know what you think. You can leave some comments. Let me know if you have any further questions about any of these microphones and the choices that we may have here. And if you've got an opinion on what sounds better on my voice, please let me know. Okay, we'll catch you next time.